Hi, everybody. Excellent, excellent. I'm Rick. I have a problem, lots of problems. Number one problem is Keith over here started off the day by nerd sniping me. You all know what nerd sniping is? It's when you say something intentionally to get the attention of somebody just to make them do a bunch of stuff. So rather than, causing all kinds of network problems and stuff around here, I spent half of my day writing up a set of slides for this just so that I could sound semi-credible when I talk. We'll see how I do on that. So we're going to talk about the FCC fine against Marriott, why it's interesting in general. I realize we're in Europe and the FCC is not, but the general ideas for all of the unlicensed spectrum kind of apply. Who here knows what Hanlon's razor is? Excellent, excellent. I have a sticker set from the Wireless Village at DEF CON for anybody who can tell me that after my talk. Okay. So who am I? I'm a Wi-Fi security guy. I spend a lot of time goofing off with Wi-Fi security in general, and I do a lot of things that, would require me to have a slight bit of knowledge of the legality of those things. Not that people who are attacking you care about the laws, mind you. They very specifically don't. However, what's important is if you respond to those threats by breaking the law, you actually end up getting fined, jailed, all of your network equipment taken away, bad things. So it's important to know that stuff. The number one thing here is far too easily entertained is really the source of all my problems. So in case you've been living under a rock, Marriott recently got fined by the FCC about $600,000 for blocking Wi-Fi in the conference area at one of their hotels. One. There was a complaint from somebody that there was jamming occurring. The FCC went in to investigate it, and for that one event, they were charged $600,000, and they're required to check in with the FCC every 3 months for the next 3 years to explain how they're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again at any Marriott property worldwide. That sounds fun. So there's a couple of news articles about that. You might have heard about it. Marriott made a really interesting statement about that. I could read all of this, but really to boilerplate it, I found some really important key words in here that I thought were good. They wanted to ensure the guests of their Wi-Fi service were protected. They were only using FCC-authorized equipment. I mean, you said this stuff was legitimate, right? And we believe that our actions were completely lawful. That's a very strong statement. They're using equipment approved by the people finding them. They think that what they did was legal. They're just protecting their network. It makes perfect sense. Well, the FCC had some interesting words on this in their ruling. They said specifically Marriott employees use containment features to prevent individuals from connecting to the internet via their own personal Wi-Fi networks. Marriott employees used the containment features to block things that maybe they shouldn't have blocked, and especially they noted in the ruling charging customers as much as $1,000 per device to connect to Marriott's network. It's interesting that they bring that up specifically. So quotes from the actual Enforcement Bureau's chief, a gentleman by the name of Travis LeBlanc, customers who purchase cellular data plans should be able to use them without fear. It's unacceptable for the hotel to intentionally block things. This practice puts consumers in an untenable position of either paying twice for the same internet or just not having internet at all. All of these notes come back to the fact that this is an unlicensed spectrum, and it's that way all over the world. Unlicensed means you're allowed to use it. The FCC wording is specifically, you are allowed to use it so far as you do not intentionally interfere with somebody else. That's the only real stipulation for an unlicensed medium, is to make sure that you don't interfere with someone else. Well, that's interesting. So, where's the disconnect here? The Marriott says they did everything legally. The FCC says they didn't. So, look at the wording used here. Marriott says, when our guests use our Wi-Fi service, they will be protected. Like many institutions, governments, military, in a wide variety of industries, we protected our Wi-Fi network. Marriott is sitting here talking about their wireless network. But the FCC is talking about something completely different. The FCC says it's unacceptable for any hotel to intentionally disable personal hotspots, preventing individuals from connecting to the internet via their own personal networks. Marriott is saying we're protecting our network. The FCC is saying attacking everyone else in the airspace has nothing to do with your network. What the FCC is very clearly stating in their ruling is this last bit at the bottom: high fees to use the hotel's own network. I'm not saying that Marriott was blocking everything in the airspace so that they could collect more money. But the way I read the FCC's ruling, it sure looks like that's what they think was going on. They think that you're blocking everything in the airspace, things that have nothing to do with Marriott security, all so they can collect a couple of $1,000 extra. I mean, that's just the way I read that. But again, Marriott says that all of this stuff is built into standard enterprise-grade access points. There's a big legal battle going on. Marriott's trying to appeal this, and they're saying, well, I mean, all these vendors, I don't know, let's look at a market leader, say Cisco, just as an example. Here's the user guide for Cisco's adaptive wireless intrusion prevention system. They talk about how to turn everything on, how to enable automatic containment, how to find rogue access points by signal strength and block everything in your airspace. But they have an interesting note at the bottom: attempting to contain a rogue access point might lead to legal consequences. That's interesting. Right in the user guide, they tell you that you can configure this to break the law. We're not recommending it. We're actually specifically cautioning you against it, but this is possible. And in fact, I'm not picking on Cisco here. This is common amongst all WIPS vendors. You can take any of these products and manually configure them to attack everything in the airspace, at which point you're no better than any other denial of service attacker. But that is definitely breaking the law. It's specifically in the user guides telling you it's breaking the law. My personal favorite is, when you select any of the AP containment commands and click Go, a message containing a rogue AP may have legal consequences. Do you want to continue? Click OK if you are sure. Click Cancel if you do not want to do this. It tells you when you hit the button in the interface, because nobody reads user guides. So it forcibly tells you, by the way, you could be breaking the law. You sure you want to do this? And you have to say, yeah, I'm sure, right? There's no question in your mind this could be breaking the law because it's popped up there whether you like it or not. So what can we do legally, right? There's a lot of wireless intrusion detection and prevention systems out there that do things. What can we legally do? Attacking everything in the airspace is clearly frowned upon. None of us really appreciate it when all of a sudden all of our hotspots don't work. But there are wireless threats out there that we do need to prevent. So what can we do? We can look at the clients. We take a client-centric approach, and we can protect our devices. If we classify the clients based on behavior, we can look at which devices are actually owned by the company, which devices are we using for credit card transactions, which devices have proprietary data on them, what connects to my secure authenticated network versus what's just in my airspace, maybe connected to a mobile hotspot. And then we can take just our assets and prevent them from connecting to hotspots. There's no reason that you can't prevent a company-owned computer from connecting to a MiFi. But you cannot prevent my laptop just because I'm nearby from connecting to my own hotspot. You don't own my computer, but you do own those corporate assets, those devices you use every day that are issued by your offices. They have antivirus on there, they limit your user rights, they prevent you from installing software, whatever it is. They're allowed to do that because it's not yours. It's theirs. It's the corporate assets that you can protect. Stop them from Wi-Fi karma attacks, man in the middle, all the cute little Wi-Fi pineapple stuff. But guests, people who connect to your guest network, neighbors, neighboring devices, things that happen to be in your airspace, they can do whatever they want. They can connect to whatever they want. We really don't care because they're not part of it. Now, the real question is, what about on-wire rogue access points, something that is physically connected to your network, but it's not yours? What about in-the-air rogues, such as evil twins, somebody stealing your SSID? Can you legally DOS that guy? That's a really good question. If any of you happen to work for a regulatory body, I've got more stickers that I'd be happy to give you if you want to talk to me about that. That said, I think I hit my time, so thanks.